Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Today I want to discuss the GTR as a daily driver. There's a lot of videos out there that discuss, just how much of a performance car this is. They'll show 0 to 60 times or launch control or going around a track. And that's all well and good. But if you're like me, you like to daily drive your project car. And these are my reasons why the GTR actually makes a great daily driver. However, before I get started on that, a little visual modification to the car that gives me a little shameless self-promotion. Now that that's done, I'm going to start with what I feel is a very important aspect for a daily driver, and that's your trunk and storage space. For those of you who don't know, the GTR has an absolutely massive trunk. And now that you're seeing in it, you're getting a little bit of a spoiler of an upcoming video, which is going to be my first modification to the car. For those of you who recognize those boxes, you know what I'm up to. Go ahead and post in the comments down below. Let everybody else know, or if you don't know, make a wild guess and we'll see if you're right. But getting back to the trunk, it's absolutely huge. I've been grocery shopping many times, never had an issue fitting my groceries or anything else I've needed to take with me. Some people have complained that the trunk opening is a little bit small though, because it's a top-loading trunk. Personally, I've never had an issue. I've been able to get stuff in and out of there without an issue. I did notice in this trunk though, if you look towards the back here, there's 2 indentations on either side that give the trunk a little bit more width. And although I haven't researched this, I'm willing to bet it's just big enough to fit a set of golf clubs. And if there's not enough space in the trunk, there's actually a lot of storage space in the cabin as well. Over here you have a glove box, which has got a pretty good size to it. You can see I've got all my paperwork in there and a scanner. There's a nice little cubby right here up at the top in the headliner to store your sunglasses. And if that's still not enough, it has some netting here on the doors. Typically not something I would use, but given the fact we're still dealing with COVID, it's a great spot to keep my hand sanitizer and a mask. That way it just stays in the car, and anytime I go anywhere, it's right there within easy reach when I get out of the car. There's also a little storage compartment right here on the armrest. It's actually pretty shallow. You can't fit a lot of stuff in there. As you can see, I have a few tools and my gate clicker. If you still need more space, you also have the entire back seat area here, where as long as you don't have anything riding around in the back, you can fit back there. So the GTR actually has a lot of storage space if you need to haul stuff. Building off of all that storage space also leads into the fact that the car is actually really roomy. As you can see, I have a lot of elbow space, which is pretty good for a car. Even if I had a passenger, we wouldn't be fighting for elbow space on the center console. There's also a lot of headroom here. I'm 5'10", and as you can see, I have over 4 fingers of space between the top of my head and the roof, which means if you're taller than me, you're still gonna fit in this car very comfortably. I'm also at about 190 pounds, and the seats are nice and comfy. I don't feel like I'm being squeezed. And I think even if I was a little bigger, I'd still feel like there's plenty of room in this car, which makes it nice and comfortable if you're gonna be driving it a lot. Another thing that makes this car a great daily driver is the visibility. For those of you who have owned sports cars before, sometimes the visibility out of those cars is not the greatest. You have the windshield and the 2 side windows, which you can see out great. But usually when you start needing to look over your shoulder and change lanes, sometimes it gets a little hairy because you can't really see out that well. This car, you don't have that problem at all. I can see around really, really well. I've never been worried changing lanes or being in heavy traffic. So it really helps as a daily driver knowing that you have really minimalistic blind spots. One of the shocking things that actually makes this car a good daily driver, and it's something I would have never guessed, is actually the fuel economy. As you can see, I'm averaging 20.9 miles per gallon at an average speed of 35.6 miles per hour. I can tell you from having a RX-7 and a Supra and an R32 GTR, I typically average anywhere from 16 to 18 miles per gallon. So I'm really shocked to see I'm basically at 21 miles per gallon. I mean, that's a huge difference. As you can see, My average speed is 35.6 miles per hour. So this is mainly city driving. It's not like I've just been cruising on the open freeway to get the most miles per gallon. So I was really shocked to see I'm kind of saving money on gas with this car compared to my other ones, which I didn't expect because it's a big car, it's a heavy car, and it's a V6. I did originally buy this car in Seattle, Washington, and did drive it all the way down to Los Angeles. If you didn't see those videos, I'll go ahead and post a link in a banner above my head and put a link in the descriptions down below if you want to watch those. But when I did that drive, that was open freeway driving. I seemed to be averaging about 22 to 24 miles per gallon. So the real shocker of this car is, as a daily driver, you're not going to be breaking the bank on fuel. And then of course, as I've showed, that makes this a really fun daily driver is there is a lot of information to see in this car. I've showed you that right here on the TAC. You can scroll through a number of information based on what it is you want to see while you're driving. Also over here, you have the audio visual unit where you can see pretty much whatever you want to see with the car. You can pull up all sorts of information, such as, I have it set up with my boost pressure, my coolant temp, oil pressure, engine temp, trans oil pressure, and trans oil temp. But I can also rotate through multiple screens to just kind of see whatever parameters I'm interested in. There's also this info button here, which brings up even more information. So sometimes when I'm stuck in traffic doing like 3 to 5 miles per hour, I kind of scroll through these just to kind of see what's going on. You can pull up your fuel economy there if you want to see it there, or tire pressure is sometimes important depending on, what the weather is doing. Can also pull up maintenance info to let me know if I'm coming up on any oil changes that are due or anything like that. It does have GPS, traffic info, weather info. So there's a lot of fun little gizmos and gadgets to play with in this car to keep you entertained if you're stuck in traffic. Another thing that makes this car a pretty good daily driver is just how well Nissan sound dead in the cabin. As you can hear, I do have the car running. You can probably hear the exhaust outside and maybe some of the transmission rattle. But as soon as I close the door, that noise drops a lot. I mean, this is a noisy car, depending specifically on what exhaust you put on it, but it does a pretty good job of deadening the sound inside the cabin. I really noticed this on that trip I talked about between Seattle and Los Angeles, where driving that many hours, the drone of the exhaust could probably become annoying, especially if it was something like my Supra where you would hear everything. This one, it's actually pretty quiet. It's not overly annoying. I can still have a conversation with my passenger if I have one, or on the phone through the radio, which is built into this. So I think they did a really good job basically keeping the cabin as quiet as they could, to the point that as a daily driver, you're not going to be annoyed by all the road noise. And of course, the best reason why this car makes such a great daily driver, it's fun to drive. And by that, I mean this car is fast. Unlike some of my other cars where I've had to put a big single turbo on it to get the power goals, this car is still on the factory twins. Which means when you decide to put your foot down, that power is instantaneous. It makes every little freeway entrance like a little 8th mile, where you get to put your foot down and have some fun. Which means on that commute to work and to home, you get 2 little races. And of course, this car can corner. Which means if you know of a nice little twisty road and you're lucky enough to go up it without getting stuck behind some slow car, it kind of feels like a little birthday. And there they are. Those are my reasons why I think the GTR is a phenomenal daily driver. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. If you did, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button to let me know. It does help the channel out a lot. If you want to see more GTR content in the future, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you're thinking about picking up some graphics for your car or having a logo designed, the guy I used was Eddie Kim, and I'm going to leave a link to his Instagram down below if you want to use him. He is heavily involved in the car community, and I do like supporting people in the car community. If you have any questions or you feel there's anything I've missed, go ahead and post in the comments down below. I will respond to you. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all out on the road.